Look around you, right now. Everything you see feels real, solid, obvious, certain. But it's not the way you think, because what you're looking at is not reality. It's a reconstruction, a simulation, generated inside your brain in real time. You don't see the world directly. You never have. Your eyes don't show you reality. They send signals, raw data, light, fragments, incomplete information, and your brain takes that data and builds something out of it. A model, a version, a guess of what's out there. That's what you see, not reality, a prediction. Your brain is not a camera. It's a prediction machine. It doesn't wait for reality to happen. It anticipates it, constructs it, and then updates it, if needed, but most of the time, it doesn't update much. Because stability matters more than accuracy, your brain prefers a stable illusion over an unstable truth. Because stability feels safe, predictable, controlled. So instead of showing you everything, your brain shows you what it expects. Based on your past, your patterns, your experiences. That's why two people can look at the same situation and see completely different things. Because they're not seeing the same reality. They're seeing different predictions, built by different brains. That's the first crack in the illusion. What you experience is not the world. It's your brain's best guess of it. And that guess feels real, because you have nothing to compare it to. You've never seen reality directly. Only your version of it, filtered, predicted, constructed, and because it's continuous, because it never stops, you assume it's truth, but it's not. It's a model, and models can be wrong, distorted, incomplete. But your brain hides that from you. It smooths everything out, fills in gaps, removes inconsistencies, so the experience feels seamless, perfect, real, even when it's not. That's why illusions work. That's why your brain can be fooled, because it's not showing you everything. It's showing you what it thinks matters. That's the system. Prediction, perception, confirmation, and it runs constantly, every second, without you noticing, without you questioning, until now, because once you see it, even slightly, something changes. You start to realize what I see is not the full picture. What I feel is not always truth. What I experience is constructed. And that realization breaks something. The certainty, the assumption, the belief that this is reality, because it's not. It's your brain's version of it. And your brain is not neutral. It's biased, based on your past, based on your conditioning, based on what it has learned to expect. So your reality is shaped by that, not by what is, by what your brain predicts. That's the truth. You're not experiencing reality. You're experiencing a controlled hallucination. Stable, consistent, convincing, but still, a construction. And the moment you understand that, everything starts to shift. Your brain is not showing you the world, it's hallucinating it, constantly, in real time, but not randomly, not like a dream. A controlled hallucination, stable, consistent, predictable, that's what makes it convincing. Because your brain is not reacting to reality, it's predicting it. Before it happens, every moment, your brain is generating a model, a simulation of what it expects to see, based on your past, your memory, your patterns, your experiences, and then it compares that prediction to incoming data from your senses, light, sound, signals. And if the data matches the prediction, your brain doesn't update much. It just continues the model, smooth, effortless, invisible. That's why reality feels stable, because your brain is not rebuilding it every second. It's maintaining a prediction and only updating when necessary. That's efficiency, but it comes with a cost. Because what you experience is mostly prediction, not raw reality. Your brain fills in gaps, removes noise, simplifies complexity to keep the model running. That's why you don't notice everything. That's why you miss details. That's why illusions work. Because your brain trusts its prediction more than incoming data. It assumes it's right until something forces it to change. And most of the time, nothing does. So you live inside a model, a controlled hallucination, generated by your brain and reinforced every second. That's why your expectations shape your experience. If you expect something, your brain prepares it, builds it, highlights it, even before it fully happens. That's prediction. And prediction feels like perception. That's the illusion. You think you're seeing reality, but you're seeing what your brain predicted and confirmed. Your brain is constantly asking, what is most likely happening right now? And then showing you that. Not, what is actually happening? That's too slow, too complex, too uncertain. Prediction is faster, safer, more efficient. So your brain chooses it. Every time. That's why your past controls your present, because your predictions are built from it. And those predictions shape what you see, what you feel, what you believe. That's the loop. Past, prediction, perception, confirmation, stronger past, And it keeps running until something breaks it, until something challenges the model, until something doesn't match the prediction. That's when your brain updates. That's when reality shifts. But most people never reach that point because they stay in familiar environments, familiar patterns, familiar thoughts, and their brain keeps predicting the same things and showing them the same reality again and again and again. That's why life feels repetitive, not because reality is limited, because your model is. And your brain is protecting that model because it represents certainty. And certainty feels safe. But safety comes at the cost of truth, because your brain would rather be consistent than accurate. That's the uncomfortable truth. You're not seeing what is, you're seeing what your brain expects. And until you disrupt that expectation, your reality doesn't change. Not fundamentally, because you're still inside the same model, the same hallucination, the same constructed world. And the more you trust it, the more real it feels. But feeling real is not the same as being real. And that's the line most people never cross. Because it's uncomfortable, because it creates uncertainty, because it breaks the illusion of control. But once you see it, even slightly, you can't unsee it. You start questioning everything. What am I actually seeing? What is my brain predicting? What am I missing? And those questions begin to weaken the model. Because now, you're not blindly accepting it, you're observing it. And observation changes everything. Now you're at the edge. The point where things stop feeling simple. Because if what you experience is not reality, but a model, then what does that make you? Not the body, not the thoughts, not the perceptions. Because all of those exist inside the model. Generated, constructed, predicted. So what's left? This is where identity begins to break, because everything you thought was you is part of the system. The thoughts you have, the emotions you feel, the world you see, all of it exists inside the brain's construction. So if the construction is not reality, then your identity is not as solid as you think. It's part of the model, a clear reflection of a person's face in a pool of dark water. A single drop of rain hits the surface, and the reflection shatters into dozens of distorted, overlapping images. No fixed self. A clear boundary between this is me and this is the world, because both are being generated together by the same system. A glowing brain in a dark void emits a rhythmic, golden pulse of light. With every pulse, a faint, glowing human silhouette is briefly visible, then disappears. The brain creates you. A cinematic, high-speed flight through a complex landscape of glowing circuits and data streams in a dark void. Everything is running in real time. A person looks into a full-length mirror. Instead of their own reflection, the mirror shows a deep, swirling cosmic nebula of purple and blue light. They are questioning themselves. The screen is completely pitch black. In the very center, a single, tiny, perfectly still spark of pure white light begins to glow brighter. This is what remains. A silhouette of a person sitting in a meditative pose in a dark void. A soft, constant white light radiates from their center, filling the space with a sense of peace. Awareness has appeared. A person stands on a high cliff made of dark stone. Below them, the massive, glowing model of the brain and the world is visible. They are the observer, not completely inside the model. A single, brilliant white star in the center of the frame stays perfectly still. Around it, entire galaxies of purple and blue light swirl and shift at high speed. Awareness is constant. A hand reaches out to touch a solid, glowing crystal. Instead of hitting it, the hand passes right through it, leaving a ripple of light. The illusion is weakening. A person sits in a dark theater, watching a giant screen that shows a highlight reel of their own life in glowing, cinematic detail. They are no longer fully identified with it. A person steps through a doorway in a dark room and suddenly finds themselves standing in an infinite, beautiful starfield. This is freedom from the absolute illusion. A person stands inside a massive, translucent golden bubble of light. Outside, the bubble is raw, chaotic energy. They understand they are inside a model of reality. A close-up of a person's face. As they look at the camera, their eyes begin to emit a soft, steady white light that illuminates the dark room around them. Awareness changes everything. The dark, abstract world slowly begins to dissolve and turn into a vast, infinite sea of pure, peaceful white light. The final shift is occurring. In the center of the infinite white light, a single, small, perfectly crafted golden gear turns slowly. It represents the fact that reality is a model. Everything is clear. You stop being completely controlled by it and start seeing what was always there, not the model, but the fact that it is one.